Good morning, dear students. Today we will revise a new chapter. The name of the chapter is sound. So about this, the first thing is what is sound. So sound is the form of energy which makes us able to hear or which produce a sensation of hearing. A form of energy or invisible form of energy which makes us able to hear, that form of energy is known as sound. So sound is the form of energy which makes us able to hear, which makes us able to hear. That form of energy is known as sound. Sound travel in the form of wave, and sound waves are longitudinal waves. Sound waves are longitudinal waves. Mainly we have two types of waves: electromagnetic waves and mechanical waves. Electromagnetic waves, the waves which can travel in vacuum, those are known as electromagnetic waves. And longitudinal waves, the waves or mechanical waves, the waves which require a medium to travel, known as mechanical waves. In mechanical we have longitudinal and transverse waves. Longitudinal waves, the waves in which particle moves back and forth in the same direction in which the wave is moving. Suppose if the wave is moving in this direction and this is a particle, this particle will also vibrate or move in this direction. That type of wave is known as longitudinal wave. If the wave is moving in this direction and these are the particles, these particles move perpendicular or up and down, then this type of wave is known as transverse waves. So sound waves are longitudinal waves, the waves in which the particle move back and forth or to and fro in the direction of wave. That wave is known as longitudinal waves. And sound waves are longitudinal waves. Sound waves are mechanical waves, and in mechanical, sound waves are longitudinal waves. Sound waves are mechanical waves, so they require a medium to travel. They require a medium to travel. They cannot travel in vacuum. Sound waves require a medium to travel, so they are mechanical waves, and sound waves cannot travel in vacuum. Why they cannot travel in vacuum? Because sound waves are mechanical waves. They require a medium. How can you say that sound cannot travel in vacuum? For that we have an activity. We will discuss about that activity. Suppose we have a beaker. Here we use a vacuum pump. This is a cell of battery. This is an electric bell. Vacuum pump. When we press the switch, then bell will ring, and when bell will ring, the sound is audible to us. Because air particles are present in the bottle, so these air particles will transfer the sound to the beaker or vessel. The vessel transfer the sound to the atmosphere, and through atmosphere or through air it reaches to our ear. Now when we press the switch, the bell will ring continuously. Now start the vacuum pump. When you start the vacuum pump, this vacuum pump removes the particle of air which is present inside this bottle. These particles will come out, and due to these particles the sound or the amplitude of sound reduces, and after some time no sound is audible to us. So it means sound require a medium to travel, it cannot travel through vacuum. This activity proves us that sound require a medium to travel, it cannot travel in vacuum, and these require a medium to travel, so they are known as mechanical waves. The next concept is how sound is produced. What is sound? The form of energy which produces a sensation of hearing or which makes us able to hear, that is known as sound. The second thing about sound is how it is produced. So sound is produced by vibrations. If the particle vibrate, then only sound will produce. Take the example of a rubber. If we put the rubber in our these two fingers and if we stretch it and leave that, the rubber will vibrate, and when the rubber will vibrate, it will produce sound. Similarly, if you use a scale, if I kept a scale on my palm, cover that scale with another thing and push the other end of the scale, then it will vibrate and it will produce sound. In lab or in laboratory, we are using tuning fork. Tuning fork is a device which is used in labs to produce sound. Now what is or how it produces sound? Tuning fork is mainly of this shape, Y shape. Tuning fork is mainly of Y shape, and when we struck or when we hit the tuning fork at any material, these ends will vibrate, and due to the vibration, sound will produce. So tuning fork is a device which is used in laboratory to produce sound. Its ends, these two ends will vibrate and it will produce sound. So mainly sound is produced by vibration. The concept is how sound is produced. So sound is produced by vibrations. One more example related to that: if we hit the school bell with a hammer, the bell starts ringing. But if you hold the bell, the sound will not come. Means when we hold the bell, we are stopping vibrations, and when vibration stops, then there will be no sound production. So sound is produced by vibration. One more example related to your daily life: if a utensil fall from our hand by mistake, then it start producing sound. But if you touch that utensil with the help of your hand, means you stop vibrations, and when the vibration stops, then there will be no sound. So sound is produced by vibrations. We have discussed so many examples related to this, that how sound is produced. Now we will discuss some common terms related to sound. These are also known as characteristics of sound wave. Characteristics of sound wave. These are few words from a pendulum, or with the help of a wave. We will discuss these. This is a string and this is a bob, and this thing is known as pendulum. These are the extreme position. This position is known as mean position, and these are known as A, this is B, and this is C. A and C are the extreme positions. From wave also we will discuss these things. Compression, rarefaction, compression, rarefaction, and this position is known as mean position. On this axis you can take density. So we will discuss few terms. The first one is amplitude. The maximum, this is a particle. The maximum position on which it will vibrate, that is known as amplitude. The maximum disturbance of a particle about its mean position is known as amplitude. In pendulum, this is mean position and this is extreme position. So this thing is known as amplitude. The maximum disturbance of a particle about its mean position is known as amplitude. We will discuss some characteristics, or we are discussing some characteristics. The first one is amplitude. The maximum disturbance of a particle about its mean position is known as amplitude. And in wave, the height of the compression and rarefaction shows us amplitude. This gives us the value of amplitude. And the unit of amplitude is meter. The maximum disturbance of a particle about its mean position is known as amplitude, and its SI unit is meter. Second, we will discuss about wavelength. What is wavelength? Wavelength is denoted by capital lambda, and its unit is it is denoted by lambda, and its unit is meter. The distance between two consecutive compression and rarefaction is known as wavelength. Consecutive means लगातार, तो ये दोनों लगातार, तो यहाँ से और यहाँ तक की जो distance होगी, this distance is known as wavelength. The distance between two consecutive compression or rarefaction is known as wavelength. It is denoted by lambda, and its unit is meter. In this is the distance. This is known as wavelength. The distance between two extreme positions of a pendulum is known as wavelength. The distance between two extreme positions of a pendulum known as wavelength. The third one is oscillation. Oscillation is mainly not a characteristics, but we will discuss about oscillation. What is oscillation? Oscillation means revolution, एक complete round होना. So when we start from here, when we reach here, means we have completed one oscillation. In this, if we start from B, once we go at A, then at B, then at C, and again back at to B, it means we have completed one oscillation. एक round complete होना, that is known as oscillation. The to and fro movement of a particle about its mean position. Suppose this is a mean position. To and fro means एक बार आगे गया, एक बार पीछे आया. This to and fro movement or motion of a particle about its mean position is known as oscillation. One more term we have time period, denoted by capital T. The time taken to complete one oscillation. One oscillation means यहाँ से और यहाँ तक पहुँचने में जो time लगा, that is known as time period. The time to complete one oscillation is known as time period, and we know that the unit of time is second. In this, the time to complete one oscillation means if we start from B at A, then at C, and again at B, the time taken to complete that one oscillation is known as time period, and its unit is second. The next is frequency. Frequency denoted by F, or mainly we denote frequency by mu also. So frequency, the number of oscillation in a second known as frequency. एक सेकंड में कितने रिवॉल्यूशन कंप्लीट करता है, that gives us the value of frequency. The number of oscillation in a second known as frequency. Suppose this pendulum completes 10 oscillation in a second, then what will be the frequency? 10 hertz. Hertz is the unit of frequency, Hz, denoted by Hz. So if a pendulum completes 5 oscillation in a second, then the frequency will be 5 hertz. If a pendulum completes 30 oscillation in 10 seconds, what will be the frequency? 30 oscillation in 10 seconds. So in 1 second it will complete 3 oscillations. So frequency will be 3 hertz. So the number of oscillation in a second known as frequency. The number of oscillation in a second is known as frequency, and its SI unit is hertz. We have a relation in time period and frequency. Time period is inversely proportional to frequency, or frequency inversely proportional to time period. Means time period is equal to 1 upon frequency, or frequency is equal to 1 upon time period. This is a formula which you can use to find frequency or to find time period. After this we will discuss about the characteristics of sound. Now we will discuss the characteristics of sound. we have three characteristics of sound: loudness, pitch, and quality. We have three characteristics. First is loudness, second is pitch, and third is quality. Loudness is a characteristic of sound which is used to differentiate between two sounds. It depends on amplitude. Loudness is directly proportional to amplitude. If the amplitude will be high, it will be more louder. If the amplitude will be less, then sound will be slower, or soft. Loudness depends on amplitude. Second is characteristic of sound is pitch. Pitch is the characteristic of sound which is used to differentiate between two sounds which have same loudness. If the loudness is same, then also we need to differentiate in two sounds. Then we use second characteristic, that is pitch, and it depends on frequency. You can observe the difference in boys and girls sound, that is due to pitch. Boys have a bigger size vocal cord, so the frequency is less, so they have less shriller sound, and girls have small size of vocal cord, so they have high frequency sound, so the sound will be more shriller and pitch will be high. If loudness and pitch both are same, then how can we differentiate between two sounds? If loudness and pitch is same, then we can differentiate between two sounds with the help of third characteristic. That third characteristic is known as quality. Quality is the third characteristic of sound which is used to differentiate between two sounds. If the loudness and pitch both are same. If two boys are sitting in a room and both are invisible to us, then by listening their sound we can tell that who is speaking. So that is due to the quality. Quality is the characteristic of sound which is used to differentiate between two sounds if the loudness and pitch both are same. Sound is divided into three parts: sonic, infrasonic, sonic, and ultrasonic. Ultrasonic. The sound which have frequency less than 20 Hz, that is known as infrasonic. The sound which have frequency from 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz, that is known as sonic. The sound which have frequency more than 20,000 Hz, that is known as ultrasonic. The audible range of human being is 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. If the frequency of sound is from 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz, then only sound is audible to us. Otherwise, the sound is not audible to us. We have some animals, or few animals are there which can listen infrasonic and ultrasonic. Dog can listen infrasonic, bat can listen ultrasonic, elephant can listen infrasonic. So we have different uses of these. The audible range of human being is 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. If the sound has a frequency between 20 to 20,000 Hz, then only it is audible to us. Otherwise, the sound is not audible to us. So the audible range of human being is 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. We have discussed that sound require a medium to travel, and in our daily life we are using three mediums: solid, liquid, and gases, which have definite shape and definite volume known as solid, which have definite volume and indefinite shape known as liquid, and which have indefinite shape and indefinite volume known as gases. So sound can travel in all these three, because in railway track you observe that train is not visible, then by keeping our ear on the track we can observe the train is coming or not, means sound can travel through solids. If you keep a ball or if you ring a bell in water, then also sound is audible to us. It means sound can travel in liquid also. And in gases, if I am speaking, that thing is audible to you, it means sound can travel in gases. Now the question is, in which medium the sound travel fastest and in which medium the sound travel slowest? So it depends on the density. If the density is high, then sound travel fastest. If the density is low or less, then sound travels slowest. So among these three, the solid have maximum density, so sound travel fastest in solid and sound travel slowest in gases. Sound travel fastest in solid and slowest in gases. So nearly, I am telling an example, mainly in iron the speed is nearby 300 meter per second, and in air the speed of sound is nearby 340 meter per second. So in solid sound travel fastest and in gases sound travel slowest, and it depends on the density of material. If the density is high, then sound travel fastest. If the density is low or less, then sound travel slowest. We have some uses of ultrasonic sound also. A bat cannot see, but it can easily catch its prey. How a bat can catch its prey? Bat continuously produce ultrasonic sound. When any obstacle come in its path, then sound strike on that obstacle and get reflect back, and bat can audible that sound and can catch its prey. So ultrasonic sound also used to find the defect in metals. Now we will discuss that how sound is produced by a human being and how sound reaches to us or audible to us. How we can listen the sound. So in human being we have larynx or voice box in our throat. We have voice box. Or this voice box is also known as larynx. With the help of voice box or larynx, the sound is produced. This is mainly of this shape. These are vocal cords. When air is passes from this slit, it start vibrating, and due to the vibration sound is produced. In men or in boys, the size of vocal cord is bigger than the girls, so our sound is less shriller than girls. Boys have less shriller sound than girls because the size of vocal cord is bigger in boys and it is smaller in girls. So frequency is less in boys and frequency will be higher in girls. The sound is produced with the help of voice box. Now it reaches to our ear. How it is audible to us? The outer structure of our ear is known as pinna. The sound reaches to our pinna. After pinna we have ear canal. From pinna the vibrations transfer to ear canal. At the end of ear canal we have eardrum. Eardrum is like a balloon, so the vibrations strike on eardrum and the sound is vibration transferred to eardrum. After eardrum we have three interlocking bone, hammer, anvil and stirrup. Vibration reaches to hammer. From hammer the vibration reaches to anvil, and from anvil the vibration reaches to stirrup. And after stirrup we have a liquid part in our ear that is known as cochlear. In cochlear auditory nerves are attached to cochlear. These auditory nerves transferred that signal or transferred that vibration to our brain, and the sound reaches to our brain and brain decided what we have listened. So I told you the structure of ear. You can draw that structure and you can easily understand the thing that how our ear works. Now we will discuss about noise and music. Noise and music. The sound which is unpleasant to our ears known as noise, and the sound which is pleasant to our ears known as music. The sound which is unpleasant जो हमें सुनने में अच्छी ना लगे. The sound which is unpleasant to our ears known as noise, and the sound which is pleasant to our ears known as music. Now we will discuss the difference in noise and music. First difference is the sound which is pleasant to our ears, music, and the sound which is unpleasant to our ears known as music or not pleasant. Second, in musical sound, a regular periodic vibrations are formed. There will be no sudden change in the vibration. A regular periodic vibrations are formed in music, and irregular vibrations are formed in noise. In music, there will be no sudden change in amplitude and pitch, but in noise, there will be a sudden change in amplitude and loudness. So these are the three differences in noise and music. You can write these three differences in noise and music. Sorry. Now we will discuss about loudness. The disturbance produced in the environment by the undesirable, loud or harassed sound is known as loudness. Loudness is the characteristic of sound which is used to differentiate between two sounds. We will discuss now about noise pollution. A disturbance produced in the environment or caused in environment due to loudness, due to harass of a sound, that is known as noise pollution. This noise pollution irritates us a lot. This can cause a temporary death or permanent death in a person. We can reduce the noise pollution by using the TV at minimum volume, by not using the loudspeakers, by not using the machineries which are producing sound. This noise pollution can be controlled. The machinery should be oiled and should be greased at a regular interval, so they will not produce any extra sound. So in this way we can prevent or we can reduce the noise pollution. Noise pollution can cause headache, can irritate us, can make us deaf. So these are some disadvantages of noise. So we have to reduce noise pollution by planting the trees. The soft things absorb sound and plants are soft, so by planting trees we can reduce noise pollution. By using heavy curtain in our rooms we can reduce noise pollution. Okay, thank you.